The gleaming towers of Harrison Industries stretched toward the Seattle sky, reflecting the late afternoon sun across their pristine glass surfaces. On the 42nd floor, CEO Alexandra Harrison stood at her corner office window, watching the city bustle below while her mind churned through quarterly projections and merger possibilities. At 29, Alexandra had built her reputation on precision, intelligence, and an unwavering focus on results. She had inherited Harrison Industries from her father 3 years ago and had doubled its value through strategic acquisitions and ruthless efficiency. The business world respected her, competitors feared her, and employees knew better than to waste her time with anything less than excellence. What most people didn't know about Alexandra was that beneath her polished exterior lived a deep appreciation for classical music. She had studied piano for 15 years, reaching near professional levels before choosing business over conservatory training. Music remained her private passion, her escape from the demands of corporate life. The building's night shift was beginning as Alexandra prepared to leave for another networking dinner. She gathered her papers, checking her reflection in the darkened window. Her tailored suit was immaculate, her dark hair pulled back in a perfect chignon, every detail calculated to project authority and control. As she waited for the elevator, Alexandra heard something that made her pause. Drifting from somewhere in the building came the faint sound of piano music. She frowned, certain that all the offices were empty and wondering if someone had left a radio playing. But as she listened more carefully, Alexandra realized this wasn't a recording. Someone was playing live, and playing beautifully. The melody was hauntingly familiar, Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat major, one of her favorite pieces. Curiosity overcoming her schedule, Alexandra followed the sound through the empty corridors. The music grew stronger as she approached the executive conference room, its door slightly ajar. Through the gap, she could see the room's grand piano, a Steinway that her father had insisted on purchasing for important client entertainments. At the piano sat a man in a janitor's uniform, his cleaning cart parked nearby. His hands moved across the keys with extraordinary grace and precision, drawing from the instrument a sound so pure and emotional that Alexandra found herself holding her breath. The man appeared to be in his early 30s, with dark hair and gentle features that spoke of quiet intelligence. He played with his eyes closed, completely absorbed in the music, unaware of his audience. His technique was flawless, but more than that, he played with a depth of feeling that reminded Alexandra why she had fallen in love with piano in the first place. As the nocturne drew to its gentle conclusion, Alexandra stepped into the room, her heels clicking softly on the marble floor. The man's eyes flew open, and he immediately stood up, his face flushing with embarrassment. "I'm so sorry, Ms. Harrison," he said quickly, moving away from the piano. "I know I shouldn't have been playing. I was just finishing cleaning the conference room, and I saw the piano, and He trailed off, clearly expecting to be fired on the spot. Alexandra studied him carefully. She recognized him as part of the night cleaning crew, though she had never spoken to him directly. "What's your name?" she asked. "David Chen," he replied, his voice barely above a whisper. "I've been working here for about 6 months. I promise this won't happen again." "How long have you been playing?" Alexandra asked, ignoring his apology. David looked confused by the question. "Since I was 5. My grandmother taught me. She was a piano teacher in China before she immigrated here." Alexandra walked closer to the piano, running her fingers along its polished surface. "That was beautiful." "Chopin is challenging. It's one of my favorite pieces," David admitted, relaxing slightly at her tone. "There's something about Chopin that speaks to longing, to dreams that feel just out of reach." Something in his voice made Alexandra look at him more closely. There was an intelligence in his eyes, a depth that she hadn't expected. "Are you a professional musician?" David's laugh was soft and slightly bitter. "I have a master's degree in piano performance from the University of Washington. But degrees don't pay rent or buy groceries. This job has good benefits and steady hours. It lets me practice during the day when my neighbors won't complain about the noise." Alexandra felt an unexpected pang of recognition. How many talented people were working jobs that had nothing to do with their gifts? simply because passion didn't always translate to financial stability. "Would you play something else?" she asked impulsively. David looked startled. "I really should get back to work. I don't want to get in trouble." "You won't get in trouble," Alexandra assured him. "I'm asking you to play." Still uncertain, David returned to the piano bench. "What would you like to hear?" Alexandra considered for a moment. "Chopin's Ballade No. 1 in G minor." "Do you know it?" David's face lit up with surprise and pleasure. "It's incredibly difficult. Most people have never heard of it. Most people haven't studied piano for 15 years. Alexandra replied. Understanding passed between them as David began the opening measures of one of Chopin's most technically and emotionally demanding compositions. The ballade was a piece that required not just technical skill but artistic maturity, the ability to tell a complete emotional story through music. As David played, Alexandra found herself transported. She closed her eyes and let the music wash over her, remembering why she had once dreamed of performing on concert stages, why she had spent countless hours practicing scales and etudes and sonatas. David's interpretation was masterful. He navigated the piece's dramatic contrasts with sensitivity and power, building tension and releasing it, creating moments of breathtaking beauty followed by passages of stormy intensity. When he reached the final, triumphant conclusion, Alexandra realized she had tears in her eyes. "That was extraordinary," she said quietly. "Absolutely extraordinary." David looked at her with surprise, clearly not expecting such a response from a CEO known for her tough demeanor. "Thank you. It means a lot to hear that from someone who understands music." Alexandra sat down in one of the conference room chairs, her mind racing. "David, can I ask you something personal?" He nodded cautiously. "Are you happy? I mean, truly happy working here at night, cleaning offices, when you have this incredible gift?" David was quiet for a long moment, his hands resting on the piano keys. "Happiness is complicated," he finally said. "I'm grateful for steady work. I'm grateful that this job allows me to still practice and study music on my own time. But do I dream of other things? Of course I do." "What kind of dreams?" "I'd love to teach, to share music with students who are passionate about learning. I'd love to perform occasionally, not necessarily as a career, but just to share beautiful music with people who appreciate it." He paused, then looked directly at Alexandra. "What about you? Do you ever miss playing?" The question caught Alexandra off guard. No one had asked her about music in years. Her business associates knew about her corporate achievements, her strategic thinking, her leadership skills. But no one knew about the part of her that still longed to sit at a piano and lose herself in Bach or Beethoven or Chopin. "More than I realized," she admitted. "I gave up music for business, and I've been successful. But sitting here, listening to you play, I remember what I loved about it. The way music can express things that words can't capture." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, two people who had unexpectedly discovered a shared passion in the most unlikely circumstances. "David," Alexandra said slowly, an idea beginning to form in her mind. "How would you feel about a different kind of position here at Harrison Industries?" David looked puzzled. "What do you mean?" "I've been thinking about expanding our corporate culture programs. Music has been proven to reduce stress, improve creativity, boost morale. What if we had someone who could organize lunch hour concerts, maybe teach piano to interested employees, help create a more well-rounded work environment?" David stared at her. "Are you offering me a job?" "I'm offering you a chance to use your real talents while still having the security and benefits you need. The position would pay significantly more than your current job, and it would be during regular business hours." "Why would you do this?" David asked, his voice filled with wonder. Alexandra considered the question carefully. "Because talent deserves to be recognized and nurtured. Because this company would be better with more beauty and creativity in it. And because—" She paused, surprised by her own honesty. "Because listening to you play reminded me of something important that I had forgotten about myself." David was quiet for a long moment, his hands absently playing a soft melody on the piano keys. "There's something I should tell you," he said finally. "What's that?" 6 months ago, When I was applying for the janitorial position, I heard some of the office workers talking about you. Someone said you were brilliant but cold, that you only cared about money and power. I didn't think much about it at the time, but now? Alexandra prompted. Now I think they don't know you at all. Someone who appreciates Chopin's Ballet No. 1, who can recognize the difference between technical skill and true artistry, who would create a job to help someone pursue their passion. That's not a cold person. That's someone with a deep understanding of what makes life meaningful. Alexandra felt something shift inside her chest, a warmth that had nothing to do with the office heating system. Thank you for saying that, and for playing so beautifully tonight. Thank you for listening, David replied, and for seeing possibilities that I couldn't see for myself. As they prepared to leave the conference room, Alexandra turned back to David. I have a confession to make. Earlier, when you were playing that first nocturne, I was so moved by your performance that I had a ridiculous thought. What kind of thought? Alexandra smiled, feeling lighter than she had in months. I thought to myself, if someone could play Chopin like that, with such sensitivity and skill, they would be worth getting to know better. David laughed, understanding the reference to her reputation for impossible standards. And now I know I was right. Music reveals character, David. The way you played tonight told me more about who you are than any resume ever could. 3 months later, the Harrison Industries music program had become the talk of the Seattle business community. David's lunch hour concerts drew employees from across the building, and his evening piano lessons had a waiting list. The company's employee satisfaction scores had reached all-time highs, and several major clients had specifically mentioned the positive, creative atmosphere during their visits. Alexandra found herself looking forward to the music program events more than any business meeting. She had even started taking piano lessons again, working with David to rediscover pieces she had once loved. On a quiet Thursday evening, after David's latest concert, Alexandra approached the piano where he was packing up his sheet music. That was beautiful tonight, she said. The Chopin Prelude in D-flat major. Oh, it's been years since I heard it played so well. David smiled. It's funny how things work out. 6 months ago, I never could have imagined that playing piano in a corporate conference room would lead to the most fulfilling job I've ever had. And I never could have imagined that a chance encounter with the janitor would remind me of who I used to be, and who I still want to be. They stood together in the quiet conference room, the piano gleaming in the soft evening light, both of them understanding that music had brought them something more valuable than either had expected, the recognition of kindred spirits, the appreciation of hidden depths, and the knowledge that true talent and character often exist in the most unexpected places. You know, Alexandra said thoughtfully, I think my father would have loved your playing. He always said that the piano in this room was waiting for someone who could make it sing. David's hands touched the keys gently, playing a soft chord that resonated through the room. I think it's been singing all along. It just needed the right audience to hear it. As the music faded into silence, both of them understood that some of the most beautiful discoveries in life come not from seeking them out, but from being open to the unexpected moments when hidden talents reveal themselves and transform everything we thought we knew about the people around us.